I asked ChatGPT a lot about skills and what you could do with skills and the extension of skills and what skills means. And it's pretty big. Like it's pretty big. One of the biggest things that it told me, and I haven't tried it, and maybe you probably have, is that you can use skills to set off other skills. And
Oh yeah.
and that is crazy, right? Like that is crazy. That's when you're like really building a system of digital workers. But I mean, maybe I mean, it looks like you've been doing a lot more than me, from what I've seen on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've been doing it nonstop. I mean, it's like
Right.
the only thing I'm doing these days. That
Wow. Okay.
the thing that's the modularity is amazing because what I've
Right.
got is like I've got a bunch of solver skills that'll iterate. And so
Right.
what I've got is I've got an input skill that basically will take from a screenshot or an Excel file. It'll pull the input data and the target data out of that resource, set them up in the skill, and then I've got a reporting skill where I've got a structure of what I like the system to output after it's finished solving the problem. So it'll
Yes.
it'll give a statement of the problem, it'll give the input data, the output data. It'll show every iteration of the loop and what changed in that iteration.
Mm.
It'll validate row by row. It'll then explain the lessons it learned and saved into memory. And I can use that reporting module on anything I create, to solve anything at that point. I can say, just call the core reporting skill, and it just bam, it just does it. And it so one of the things that was really neat, the last basically I've been working on like nonstop since last night is um there are like 2,500 skills that are now out, in the wild that you can download. And the question is, are they any good? So I said, let me build. I saw Jared Blumenthal on his YouTube channel build a skill to evaluate other skills. So I said, well, let me try that. And I got way, way down the rabbit hole. And I've now got this 5 module skill that goes through and checks compatibility with the Anthropic standards. It does a 5 level security test. It does um, all sorts of best practices tests, and then provides a weighted decision report in terms of should you install this, should you not install it, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, the stuff you can create and then just iterate on. I was actually just wrestling with getting my GitHub CLI set up in Claude so that I
Hmm.
could I could push it for public use. But yeah, it's crazy what you can do with this stuff now.
Yes, I wanna learn more. And I want to also get your view on like what does this all mean? Because I think this is the democratization of automation within these AI clients, basically. Like this is sort of a sign of where a lot of these other things might go, right? And if I was to simplify it down, am I correct in saying, and this is what ChatGPT told me as well, is basically you're able to pre-prompt massive pre-prompts and sort of stack them. You can stack them one after the other, or you can just go and call these pre-prompts at any point in time and it will just go and pick up that skill. It will go and pick up that prompt and then go and use it. And
Exactly.
because one of the things that annoys me about ChatGPT is so I'm trying to run a few. I've got a few different startups and I've got obviously enterprise DNA and I've got a lot of things with enterprise DNA, but I'm having to reprompt the same stuff all the time when I want to go and do things, or when I want to talk strategy, or when I want to go and learn evaluate a strategy within Enterprise DNA or with one of our apps or with whatever. I'm having to reprompt every single time, and and I'm getting different return like answers in return all the time because the prompts aren't the same. They're not. It's not equal. And so my thoughts is that this is also an opportunity to solve that issue. Um,
it solves it. You will never have to repeat that again. You'll
mm,
just say like implement strategy skill, and the amazing thing about it is it's not like a system prompt. So you're not
mm,
just loading a ton of shit into context,
mm,
every time. That what it does, it has this thing called progressive disclosure. And so it just loads 30 to 50 tokens. It's like a 500 character description of what the skill is and why it gets called. And that's
mm,
the only thing it loads. And so your context stays, totally clean
mm,
until it hits a trigger where either you say implement this skill or you kind of prompt in a way that indicates you want to use that skill. And then it'll ask you, it'll say, okay, do you want to fire up the strategy skill? And what
mm,
it'll do is it'll load only those things it needs initially. So it's this progressive disclosure. And as you get deeper and deeper in, that's the nice thing about the modularity is you can run part of it and then say, okay, that's all I need. We don't need to go to the report. And
mm,
um, and it won't drag that extra prompt and tools and you know context. It won't drag that um, into your active context.
mm,
And so, it's the way I think of it is kind of like a standard operating procedure. So if you had a new employee starting in Enterprise DNA and you were going to
mm,
train them about, implementing this process, it's the SOP you would give them, and they would just learn how to run that, every time. And
mm,
the interesting thing about this is we're not used to thinking of AI as being reliable enough to do that.
mm.
But when you set these skills up properly, they are just rock solid in terms of, just running. You'll reliably get the same end result from the process call.
Yeah, because that's quite big. That's going to be big in organizations, right? Is that the ability to get consistency? I bet you that's like one of the biggest issues with AI usage in organizations right now. Is this like everyone's trying to do similar things, but they're all doing them in slightly different ways. The prompts are slightly different, but this is just a way to sort of standardize and get a lot more consistency. But how is it different to GPTs, the concept of GPTs inside of ChatGPT? How is it
So
different?
a lot of it is that it's basically a much more sophisticated version of that in the
Right.
sense that it can call tools, it can bring in a large amount of additional context. It can run scripts, so you can run JavaScript, you can run Python, you can run R.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
you know,
mm,
you can
mm.
you can apply any sort of fixed script that you've set up in there. You can call APIs. I mean, and the thing is, you can run it. You can run it in the web interface. You can run it in the desktop. You can run it in Cloud Code.
You've obviously got to set up the system, which I'm big on. Like, I
Right.
think we're going to be system creators now. But in terms of, because I presume you can almost create like, if you've got skills that are linking to other skills, creating reports. I mean, that's what you used to do. Like, that's what I used to do 10 years ago. Like you used to get data, create a report, create information about the report, send the report. Like if you can create skills that do a lot of this, isn't that that's taking the human out of the loop in some of those historic workflows.
I mean, it's really interesting in the sense that I saw the post you did yesterday, and my response to it was, I feel like I'm getting kind of dragged, whether I like it or not, back into managing a team.